Hello ladies, today we're going to be looking at the Pythagorean Theorem. Today's learning target is I can apply the Pythagorean Theorem to determine the value of a missing segment length on a right triangle. Just to give you a heads up, the Pythagorean Theorem only works on right triangles. So here's our theorem. If a triangle is a right triangle, then the square of the length of the longest side is equal to the sum of the squares of the lengths of the other two sides. In this case, we call these the legs. So I'm going to call my hypotenuse C and my legs A and B, just to keep sake with the theorem. So the rule is, this is your theorem, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So we're simply just taking our side lengths, squaring them, and setting them equal to a third side length. It doesn't matter where your A or B is, but our C always needs to be across from our right angle. So this is my C. So I can make this A and B, and those are my side lengths. Let's see how we actually use this theorem. Find the length of the hypotenuse. Well, whenever you have a right triangle, you'll see this little right angle in here. What I like to do is I like to label my side lengths A, B, C. I don't know what C is, so I'm going to put an X here. So I can use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for X. So I just rewrite my theorem always. I rewrite A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I now substitute in my side lengths. I have 45 squared plus 28 squared equals X squared. I now need to ask myself what 45 squared plus 28 squared is. Well, 45 squared plus 28 squared is going to be equal to 2,809. So I have 2,809 equals X squared. And the only way to get rid of a square in math is to take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides of my equation. So I get X equal to 53. So that means your hypotenuse is 53 units long, or whatever the units are. And that's your final answer. Number 2. The side lengths, the length of the legs of a right triangle are radical 10 and radical 14. Find the length of the hypotenuse in simplest radical form. So the first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to draw my right triangle. It's not going to be perfect. And I know my legs are radical 10 and radical 14. I want to find my hypotenuse. So I don't know what my hypotenuse is, so I'm going to put an X there. I know Pythagorean theorem says A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So I know my side lengths are radical 10 and radical 14, so what I'm going to do is substitute them in. Doesn't matter where. So I have radical 10 squared 82.8. And again, the only way to get rid of that square is to square root both sides. So I square root, so I get x is equal to. The square root of 82.8 is 9 point. It's a long one. Let me write it out and then I'll say it. (9.09945053286). It doesn't say to the nearest tenth or anything, but what we typically do is we just go to the nearest tenth. So I look at my 0, look next to it, I have a 9, so x is equal to, or approximately, 9.1. And that's your missing side length. Let's go on to the next problem. Find the area of the triangle. Well, we know our area formula for the triangle is base times height divided by 2. If I look, I have my height of 4. All over 2, but I don't know what my base is because I don't know what this piece is. But what I can do is I can use Pythagorean Theorem to find that missing side length. So what I'm going to do is put an x here, and I know a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I have x squared plus 4 squared equals c squared of 5 squared, so 5 squared. So 4 squared is going to simplify to 16, so I have x squared plus 16 equals 25, because 5 squared is 25. I'm now going to subtract 16 from both sides. So I get x squared is equal to 9. Again, the only way to get rid of that square is to square root both sides. So the square root of 9 is 3. So now I go back to my visual. I put my 3 here, and now I know what my base is. What's 4 plus 3? 7. So I now have my base of 7, so I can substitute that into my area of a triangle formula. What's 7 times 4? 28. 28 divided by 2? 14. So my area is 14 units squared. And that's your final answer. If you have any questions, please email myself or Miss Daniel. Have a great day, ladies.